Very busy road.
Because
and the wheel has made it even busier.
yeah.
Shortcut to the wheel.
Yeah. So down at the junction there, you know, from our point of view, I see that as being the centre of a village. You know, and basically the end of this road, Union Road, cuts that village centre in two.
Yeah.
Because if you're wanting to walk from west to east,
I'm not very sure.
or if you're in a, you know, if you happen to have a wheelchair or whatever, you want to get from west to east or east to west, you're faced with crossing that road at the end there, and you're
travelling along the street.
Crossing that road is not a problem. There's a pedestrian crossing on it. There's one here and there's one at the Sheriff Court.
Excuse me, the pedestrian crossing with the light, this one here, it's not working. It only works, that's why I'm late. It only works if you put your finger on the button and hold it there.
Right,
the minute you take your finger off the button, it goes off and the traffic doesn't stop.
Well, I can have a look at that.
Please have a look at that.
We'll get that fixed. But what I was concerned with was the movement of the pedestrians within the town centre and the convenience of the effect on the convenience the lack of a crossing has at the end of this Union Road. That's a difficult point.
So do you need evidence? Because we can ask people that use the sensory centre, which is a group of disabled people. Many of them already work here and live here, and the Mariner Centre will also be used by the villagers. And then we could also maybe have a meeting with some of the people in key housing at the sensory centre, and call local people from Camlin or ask members of the Community Council to get involved with their people, and maybe have a meeting to try and consult people.
I mean, currently, the stage we're at in the office is that we're producing a feasibility study on the junction down there.
You not had complaints from traffic as well, because I've seen the traffic lined up here trying to get out at that corner. Trying to get out, and the traffic won't stop, and the people trying to come round the corner are frustrated. I think light would be a good thing, or even a roundabout. I don't think the roundabout would work there. Like the traffic.
Well, we have
frustrated as well. Have you not had complaints from them? The traffic, just traffic trying to go down here and turn left. The flow is going from the coffee shop. The flow is coming and coming and coming, and this is won't stop.
Well, just standing here, look at what's happening. Oh, sorry, this is Alan Williamson. He's one of the younger residents in key housing.
What the council and the roads department is currently involved in is that we're doing a detailed assessment of the junction, the function of the junction, and this is really on the back of taking local knowledge of the area, taking complaints that we've had over the years, and maybe having possibly, and it's inverted commas, it's possibly taking the opportunity to apply some funds to improving the junction for everyone that uses it. So that means for everyone. That's for the drivers. That's for what we would call vulnerable road users, and we class vulnerable road users as cyclists, pedestrians, people with a wheelchair, or what have you. So we're trying to do our best, and when we're looking at the junction, where it came from was somebody at one stage asked for a pedestrian crossing, and we looked at that location down there and went, because of the close proximity to the main road, and the fact that the building lines and things, if someone was walking across a pedestrian crossing, they wouldn't have to give way to vehicles. So a vehicle coming round on the left turn there, they would be coming round as normal, free to travel round at any speed. And then you could then actually come across a pedestrian that's just wandering across on a green mat. And then we were really concerned that that pedestrian would end up getting knocked down. So the option for a pedestrian crossing down here is really not an option. We can't do that down near the junction. To bring the pedestrian crossing away from the junction up to sort of this point, we kind of felt that we wouldn't really be meeting all of the demands for people and want to cross Union Road. We felt that the crossing would be better placed in the road, which really propped the idea that really we would improve the junction as a whole. We would take away the staggered crossing just round the corner, but we would have the whole. We would be looking at the whole.
So could you not put a traffic light system in there?
It cost a road like curb, though. That would cost nothing.
Well, we've got a few things to look at. So obviously we can look at that as a more minor issue, and we're currently looking at this. We're expecting the answer to come back within the next 2 or 3 weeks for the junction, whether or not it's viable, to do it. But I would see it as a big
just a few yards up from the crossing, you were considering putting it in, say, about where that right turn is.
Well, the solution, I think, down there is, as you say, you mentioned a roundabout. We don't really have the land for the roundabout. That's why I didn't know. And roundabouts aren't good for pedestrians because you have this, it's all free flow traffic. So the feasibility is really looking at traffic lights for the junction. Well, we're thinking of traffic lights.
Traffic lights would be logical because as a driver who comes that way and comes from Glasgow, I tend to cut through here, up here. If I'm coming from Glasgow, off the motorway, I might come off here, go up to Station Road, because otherwise, depending on the time, I have to go all the way through town, or I have to go to Junction 6, which is kind of a longer way round, and then get stuck in traffic. So, as a driver's point of view, the traffic lights would work if they're like the ones further down. So you have the road crossings, and I'd like to see Gavin neat, the neat boxes, because they can use smart apps then for people with deaf blind. The neat boxes are the new pedestrian crossings with the bubble. But the designer, Michael Anderson and I, who is our deaf blind colleague, and he has the same problem. And my other comment here is, if you're going to lower this, can you please put bubble paving in, blister paving? Because we have seen down at the Helix and other places where there's no blister paving, and I'm saying to him, walking, we're crossing a road, and he says, well, that's funny, there's no blister paving. And by law, I understand that blister paving has to be on the road crossing.
What crossings are those?
All the ones in Helix. Inside, on site.
You've got staggered crossings on the main road.
No, I'm talking on the site itself, within the site. And in some cases, they've actually got the lines and no blister paving. So, having looked at BS 300 and all the rest of it, it clearly states that these should be a feature. So, and I have taken up with the Community Trust who say they're employing an access company to do the surveys in 3 to 4 months' time when I've already done them by being down there so regularly. Anyway, so you're expecting a report back in 2 or 3 weeks' time. And in the interim measure, would anybody consider dropping that curb, or do we have to go to MSPs or councillors?
No, I
could get across, because I'm used to this, I'm really used to this, but I have to go on the road and get the side bit there. But that's dangerous in a busy road.
To go down the side?
I have to go down.
You don't want to do it.
So, I mean, it can be done, but that's just an accident waiting to happen now.
With regards to the
it
junction...
still doesn't solve the problem at the junction, though. There's still a problem there.
That's obviously
It'll take
it's an
longer.
answer that we're going to have to
Yeah.
read. But it's maybe going to affect what you would be asking for here, because if you get a no, it's a no for the feasibility study down there, and I think the answer is really going to rely on the effect it has on the capacity of the junction, and the effect it has on the main road traffic and things like that. So, I mean, it's not certain that it's going to be a yes answer, but then, I mean, you could decide to campaign for something there. I mean, that's how these things work, isn't it?
So what's our first step if we have to campaign? Petitions?
I think
a public meeting in the sensory centre.
Public meeting, yeah.
Calling
all the Cameron people. I mean,
the Cameron people and residents. Key Housing have got 50 residents.
Yep. Yeah.
You've got community day centre run by Alan Greenhill. You've got all the people at the sensory centre.
Right. And there's an old age pensioners home somewhere over there.
Aye, just down there.
Yeah. And we called Joel Messi, the retired councillor, because he lost his legs through diabetes, so he's in a wheelchair.
I think Councillor Gold is quite an influential councillor.
He's my councillor, and I haven't heard much from him, so I think the councillors themselves need a couple of lessons in how planning actually impacts people with disabilities and their rights under the equality law. They have a duty of care to provide reasonable but practical solutions. So,
well,
isn't
there an obligation to make my life the same as your life? Equality. Yep. You're standing over there waiting to go into the Chinese restaurant, and I'm sitting over here and I can't get across. So it's not equal.
But that's what I'm saying, Jenny. They have a duty of care to provide the opportunity for you to enjoy life in dignity and respect. Anyway, look, Graham has at least offered us a compromise.
Yes.
To go back and report, and we will write it up as well, because I did write, I'll look at BS standard and what the guidance says for disability, and send that to you to consider. And you can go back and report and say, you understand, having seen it today.
Just going back to 9/11, I would just...
And who do you write to?
To you.
Okay.
Because you're the person that's approached the council, so...
And can you send a copy to Tom Scott?
I would tend to send a copy to you.
Right, okay.
Because you're the
and then I can disseminate it.
You can distribute it as you
okay.
need. Now, the question I have is, would you like that letter prior to the feasibility being finished, or after the feasibility?
I would like the letter sooner rather than later, just confirming our meeting today.
This week, but it's going to say pending the completion of the feasibility study.
Who is conducting the feasibility study?
Sorry?
Who is conducting the feasibility study? So who have you consulted in the community? What residents and things have you consulted? Anybody?
As yet, for a feasibility study, we're not required to really consult. We would consult. The way in which something like that works is that if we think that the feasibility study is over, we then have to get the money for the work due. And at that sort of stage, at some stage, we would then be informing local councillors that this is what we are intending to do for X, Y, and Z reasons. And then we would then take that forward. But think the way the whole council works is that we get budgets, and the budgets are approved by, conveners, committees, things, the kind of road safety things, because we see that as a road safety scheme. So if we can demonstrate through feasibility study that it will benefit whether it's drivers, vulnerable road users, and it's availing of the road safety, then we can use our road safety budget to build that scheme. So we tend to have to consult, but we would consult local councillors, who in turn would then consult as they see fit.
And what about the Community Council, the statutory consultees? Do they not get a say in your feasibility study?
There are statutory consultees, and councillors are only part of that. So actually, in actual fact, there's distribution. There's a list of statutory.
Of which we are one of them now.
There are a list of statutory consultees, and at a certain stage, at the right stage in the process, and I'm not just exactly sure what that stage would be, these statutory consultees would be informed by our admin section. They would send out a distributory email to everyone that needs to know.
Is that fair? So when are you expecting the feasibility study to be completed?
2-3 weeks.
Sure.
So you're talking the end of November, effectively?
Yes.
Are there many other feasibility studies of that ilk on the go, on your agenda at the moment? For the whole of the area. I know you're only dealing with this Cameron area, are you?
Yes.
Are there any other?
No, well, I kind of cover. My job really is from Drains Road.
Oh gosh.
West.
Right. So you have quite a few feasibility. Have you got other feasibility studies on the go then?
At present.
Is this one in a list sort of thing?
At present.
Being a long list of it.
At present, the council has to be careful about its budgets. So for this type of work, we're looking at this type of work and thinking we need to demonstrate, we need to be sure that we're doing it the right way.
Yeah.
So we're careful about how we're spending our money at this.
Of course. But you're on our side now because you can see that it is.
Well, I got involved about 10 years ago with traffic lights in Falkirk, because the traffic light guy left, he went to America, and I had some meetings in the sensory centres and things like that, and for the last 10 years I've been rolling out improvements in the town centre. We've upgraded all of the town centre junctions.
Yes. Oh, I've got another complaint in the town centre.
I like to think that we've improved facilities to quite a high standard.
Well, I'm quite a recent wheelchair user, and I have to be honest and say that Falkirk's much better than I thought it was going to be. Yeah. I was really quite impressed with the crossings and the road pavement, apart from I would like to see a car, like an innocent driver of a car comes along, he's parked in a bit that's perfectly legal, but it's over my dropped curb. I can maybe get, this happened when I came out of the dentist, it was near Weir Street, the dentist on Weir Street. Came out of the bit at the bottom here, it's a fine lower curb, couldn't get across it because a car had parked over it.
Was that the day you got stuck on the island?
That's the day I got stuck on the island. So I went round the island seeing if there was another place I could get off, and there wasn't, and I was stuck there. Weir Street. It's that bit that's kind of isolated. There's a Chinese restaurant. And there's a drop curb there, it's fine. Across the other side. Although the state of that pavement is atrocious. It's sloped like that and all broken up.
We'll have to go and photograph that when we do.
I'll have to photograph it, yeah. But the poor man, fortunately, he did come from his car. And I was able to say, oh good, I can't get across because it's trough. And he was so apologetic, but there was no notice there to say, please don't park over this little bit. It was only about that much, well, with my chair, that much. But there's no notice to say. I think you should paint that some colour orange, Well,
we've got are we nearly there yet? We can include parking in it now because there's room for George.
Because that's true. Because that would, I mean, it might not be that you're breaking the law by parking on it, but I mean that gentleman whose car was blocking my way was so upset, you know, that he couldn't realise he'd kept me sitting on this island for an hour, you know. Yeah. Because I couldn't even phone for a taxi because there was no way a taxi